stand by for action.
Thanks for joining me. My name is Dave Miller. I am the unpleasant blind guy. Want to thank Barbie Van Pelt for kind words about the program. Barbie listens to the show via archive, and I want to assure everyone that I'm going to keep on trying to provide the unpleasant blind guy at not only predictable show times, but in ways that will allow you to listen to the program when you want. Now, in a recent conversation with a cab driver here in Burlington, Vermont, we discussed the sharp drop in ridership, which she and her fellow cabbies have noticed. This is, of course, due to services like Lyft and Uber, which people seem to find way more convenient. Now, Burlington has had its share of taxicab reshuffles and whatnot over the past several years, and now we have some good taxicab companies, but as some might say, time moves on, and Uber and its like are definitely having an impact on the profits of these companies. So if Uber, Lyft, and similar companies are going to become more and more predominant in the transportation fabric of our nation, it becomes a concern when their drivers do not obey the law, particularly when it comes to service animals. Now, I don't want people stopping the show because they think, oh, Dave's going to talk about that creepy blind stuff again. When it comes to service animals, it's not just about guide dogs. This is something that is of a concern to our veterans who have to use these animals. And, as this particular program is coming out on November the 11th, the traditional observance of Veterans Day, that adds a poignance to it. All of these things came to mind when the following story was shared on Facebook, updated November the 6th, 2017, by Christine McCarthy for WFTX-TV, Channel 25, Dedham, Massachusetts, serving the Boston area.
Only on Boston 25 News, Boston police investigating after a woman who is blind says she was denied a ride from Uber before her boyfriend was dragged by the driver. Boston 25 News reporter Christine McCarthy joins us live now from Boston Police Headquarters. And Christine, the man had to be taken to the hospital.
That's right. I spoke with this couple earlier tonight. The boyfriend has some road rash on his arm and he has stitches on one of his hands. He'll be okay, but he and his girlfriend are upset. They're disappointed about the way that they say blind people like themselves are sometimes treated.
I'm feeling really upset.
Traveling in Boston can be difficult. For Melissa Garside, who's blind, the help of her service dog is essential.
Schedule a ride in advance.
Saturday night, she ordered an Uber to go to a friend's house through a pilot program between Uber and the MBTA for riders with disabilities. As Melissa waited outside her Washington Street apartment, her boyfriend, Richard Welch, who's legally blind, came down to help. The driver soon arrived.
He rolled down his passenger side rear window and said that he didn't take dogs, and we both explained to him that according to the law and Uber's policies, he's required to take the guide dog.
No dogs. I don't take dogs. Mind you, the service animal down here next to Melissa is clearly using a harness that's highly reflective. Says he's a guide dog.
Richard says he reached in the open back passenger window to unlock the door.
He rolled up his window on my hand and proceeded to jet to the intersection down the street here and dragged me for at least 10 feet.
Richard says he fell free, left with road rash and cuts on his hand requiring 5 stitches.
Kind of freaked out because I heard things and I didn't know what was going on, so I kept asking what happened.
As Boston police investigate, we've learned the driver is no longer providing rides. Uber saying in a statement, "We are sorry to hear about this disturbing report and we are reaching out to check on the rider's well-being. Drivers are expected to accommodate riders with service animals and comply with all accessibility laws." Meanwhile, this couple is disappointed in what they believe is a lack of support for the blind community.
It's really frustrating. You know, you deal with this on a daily basis and it gets old really quickly.
Now, the MBTA tells us in a statement the MBTA takes the needs and concerns of its paratransit customers seriously. The MBTA is disappointed to learn of this reported incident, but satisfied that Uber has launched a full investigation into the matter. Meanwhile, Uber tells us that drivers sign an agreement agreeing to transport riders who have service animals, and they say that they get quarterly reminders that they'll have to do so. Live at Boston Police Headquarters, Christine McCarthy, Boston 25 News.
This story inspired me to seek out an interview with Melissa Garside and Richard Welch. I'm going to sell this to my audience as something they should be concerned about, because we've seen trouble like this with service dogs that are used by veterans and people of that nature, so it's not just a blind thing.
Yeah.
I don't shy away from doing stories about blindness-related issues, mind you, but whenever I can make it relevant to the sighted audience, I like to try.
I made the argument today that, there's nothing precluding these drivers from driving up and asking the two questions you can ask.
Yeah.
Is that a service animal? And what has that dog been trained to do?
There you are.
Now, is your audience primarily sighted?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
My show goes out.
Fantastic.
My show goes out over SHR Media and High Plains Pundit. Those serve a lot of markets. My longer shows go out over the Western Free Radio Network. That includes a few radio stations out in New Mexico and Arizona, places like that, and that sort of thing. I honestly don't know how big my audience is, just because the shows get distributed out so far and wide. So, let's get started now. We heard the initial Fox 25 interview, and I'm going to have to ask a rather uncomfortable question of you, Richard, if you don't mind, because this question,
Be my guest.
because this question has been asked, and it does need answering. All right, why'd you stick your hand in the car window?
Because it's been my experience that once you get the door open, that's half the battle. And although some people would say, hey, it's a private automobile, as soon as that person started the contract and the person requested the trip and they were on their way, they had agency with Uber. And that's a public conveyance at that point. The way I think of it is, that Ms. Garside had the license to enter the vehicle upon arrival. And, as a fellow citizen, it's my duty to help protect the rights of my fellows out there, and I don't take that lightly. It's been my experience that once you get past that hump, you end up with an ally instead of an enemy. Once you get the door open, the rest is history.
All right, well, that's a reasonable argument. Melissa, you've said in Facebook that initially the police officer who took your report did not seem too concerned. Did you get the sense that this individual did not understand the laws regarding service dogs?
Yes, he said he didn't understand the laws regarding service animals. He said he didn't know them. And I told him that it was the law, that I could pull it up on my phone if he wanted me to. I never did do that because the ambulance was called and we had to go. But initially, he didn't take it too seriously. He was more concerned about what the driver's intentions were. So he kept asking questions like, well, it's going to all depend on whether the driver drove off intentionally with your hand in the window. And Rich and I were saying, well, of course he did. He didn't want my dog in the car. And so he wrote a generic report, and then it got assigned to a detective who's been fantastic. And he realizes the seriousness of it and was rightfully horrified when I told him, my many experiences with Uber and guide dog denials. And, he actually encouraged me. He said, listen, every time you have a guide dog denial with an Uber driver, call 911, get an officer out there to take a report.
Well, that's great. And honestly, I think that's what everyone should do. So,
if I may, I've actually walked into a police station before to try to instruct an officer at the desk, what the law was about something, because I was about to do something and I didn't want trouble with the police. The general response you get is, I don't care what the law is. And, the other response is from a reasonable place. They're not taught, and so they're like, I don't know and I don't care.
Well, and that's a great point. It really is. It seems that, and this has been happening as long as I've been plugged into blindness-related issues, it seems that often law enforcement just is not trained in these issues, and they may well care as individuals about the people, But if they don't know what the law is, then they can't apply it. And they're the ones on scene who need to do that. Now, can you tell me, Melissa, how is this incident being investigated? Is it being investigated as an assault? Because we do have two things going on here. We've got the denial of the service dog, and we have, the only thing I can figure out is we have the assault against Richard.
Yeah, the detective said that he's investigating it as assault and battery with a vehicle. And he also told me the district attorney is going to get involved, and he told me to address the guide dog denial part of it with the district attorney. He was rightfully outraged that this is happening in the blind community.
Oh, very good, very good. Now, have you contacted the DA, or has the district attorney contacted you?
Well, they have not contacted me yet. I imagine they will soon. I have been contacted by the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ in Boston because this Uber and the MBTA in Boston, which is our public transit system, have partnered together to create an Uber subsidy program for riders with disabilities to substitute paratransit vehicles. So this trip was on that pilot program. So the DOJ is very interested.
All right. It sounds like it will also become a federal case and something to be watched. Now, this is very important, and I want to handle this delicately because you may have been advised not to do it. Can you release the name of the Uber driver at this point in an interview?
I did today. I don't know if I'm supposed to. No one told me not to.
Okay. Well, then do you have the name?
His name is Alan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have his last name. I have a picture of him, his license plate number, and his name.
All right, so it's just Alan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this certainly sounds like it's captured the media's attention. How has the media response been, by the way? And this goes to both you, Melissa, and to Richard. Melissa, you start, please.
The media has been really great. The stories they've done have been really good in sticking with the facts and not sensationalizing blindness. So I've been really pleased with that. We've been on 3 different news channels. We had a brief story in the Boston Globe today, and I also did an interview for the Daily Mail. And, everybody is appropriately outraged and can't believe that, the blind community has been struggling with this since Uber's inception.
Mm-hmm.
And the press has been great. I'm just so grateful that they're covering it and taking it seriously.
Well, there's one thing that I think needs some coverage, and that is that the MBTA Uber pilot program is not being applied equally across the board with people with disabilities. Some people receive 40 rides a month, others receive 2. Melissa receives 10. What they're basically doing here in Massachusetts is they're creating a subclass of disability that's not receiving equal service. And the reason they're doing it, they're basing this on historical use of the legacy paratransit system, which are the wheelchair vans that go around, and whether or not you chose to use it often, which, I tend to have a life and a schedule and like to respect that, so I don't tend to waste my time with 3 hours a day traveling with an inept system. And the governor's office here has been contacted several times about this, inquiring as to why it's being done, and I get no response, of course.
Yeah, initially when the pilot program started a year ago, every participant received 20 trips a month, 20 Uber trips. And then about 6 months into the program, they started cutting certain people and adding trips for certain people.
So you're saying that this is a formula that someone came up with, and the point you're making here is that the system needs to be updated and or equalized because whatever the formula that they've come up with is, it isn't working.
Yes.
it's not providing equal service to people with disabilities across the board.
All right. Now, have you, Melissa, or Richard, have you contacted your state representatives about this?
I have, yes. They are aware of it. The state rep I've been in contact with is aware of it. So I'm not sure what's being done about it at this point. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But yes. Her name is Bridget Peary, I believe her last name is.
Okay.
I think at some point we also may have contacted Elizabeth Warren's office, but I also made inquiry of the Department of Transportation, the VoIP Center at, I believe they're in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And basically they came back with a patent response. Well, they're doing their job and they're not discriminating, but I don't buy that one bit.
All right. Well, it sounds like you guys are taking all the right steps. And I do hope that when some movement comes in this case, that you'll let me know so that we can get in contact again and talk about these cases at further length. Because
absolutely, I'd be happy to.
Because this is important not just to blind folks, but it's important to the general community, especially when you see smaller cities beginning to lose cab drivers and lose ridership of taxi cabs and other things for Uber. If Uber is going to become predominant in our transportation system, then this is going to become more important not just for blind folks, but for veterans or
absolutely
for otherwise disabled people who are going to have to use service animals. So I see this as an important story. And listeners out there, I hope you do too. And when these things come up, contact the appropriate representatives and ask them, what are you doing about this? Well, Melissa and Richard, I really appreciate it. This is still a very important story, and it's something that has to be addressed, especially as November the 11th is regular
Veterans Day.
Yes, the regular observance of Veterans Day. They're also doing it on the 10th, which is fine. I think we should thank our veterans as often as we possibly can.
Do you have a lot of veterans who listen to your show?
I do have a few, yes.
There's a fantastic service dog school called America's Vet Dogs in Smithtown, New York, and they train service animals for veterans.
Oh, great. Go ahead, Richard.
I was just going to say, for those that are listening to this program, I want to thank you for your service to the country.
All right. Well, and certainly I do. Now, as you can see, Miss Garside and Mr. Welch are doing everything they can and should be doing to pursue this issue. I would encourage listeners in the Boston area and in the state of Massachusetts to help these people follow up on this. Contact your state representatives and just ask them what's going on. What are you doing about these two cases? Particularly the case involving the service animal, as it appears, as you heard, that the Boston Police Department and the district attorney there are showing interest in the assault case. If Uber, Lyft, and their like are going to become dominant in easy-access public transportation in the United States of America, not only does their company policy have to reflect compliance with the law, their drivers must abide by that policy or find a different job. And remember, you can contact me directly if you have questions, comments, show suggestions, awesome American suggestions at UBG Contact on Twitter. You can also get hold of me at Dave Milner on Facebook, Connect with Liberty and the Tea Party Community, and Amagador on Gab. Now it's time for the Awesome American segment. That's right. And for those not familiar, this nation is filled with really good, selfless, charitable people who put in their time, their energy, and their money to do things for others. And it's also filled with people who love their country. And given that this program is coming out during the 2017 celebration of Veterans Day, I think everyone can guess who my awesome Americans are going to be. Our American War veterans are being recognized and honored all over our country, not just during the Veterans Day observances, but year-round, and it's good and encouraging to see. As can be heard in this story by Kelly Tycho of tcpalm.com in association with the Indian River Press Journal, Vero Beach, Florida. Headline: Veterans Day deals. vets get free and discounted meals, haircuts, and more. Businesses are saluting veterans and active duty military personnel on Saturday. They're offering freebies and special discounts on Veterans Day to show their appreciation for all of those who have sacrificed for their country. Veterans can enjoy free meals, drinks, treats, and even a haircut and car wash. For some deals, you don't have to wait until Saturday. Proof of service, such as a military ID, is typically required, and a few businesses will allow dressing in uniform as a form of identification. The majority of discounts are valid only on Veterans Day, unless otherwise noted, and available at participating locations. Some exclusions apply. Veterans Day free meals and treats. Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza, a free small order of meatballs with ricotta cheese. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, free meal from a special menu Saturday at any of the nearby 1,800 locations. Bob Evans, free meal from a special menu available all day Saturday at all locations. Bonefish Grill, free Bang Bang shrimp appetizer. Buffalo Wild Wings, free small order of traditional or boneless wings with a side of fries. California Pizza Kitchen, free entree from a special Veterans Day menu at participating locations. Chili's, free meal from a special menu. Chuck E. Cheese, and for those combat veterans, you'll need that experience if you go in there on a Saturday when they're having kids' parties. Trust me. A free personal one-topping pizza for veterans, active duty personnel, and eligible dependents with military ID, proof of service, and promo code 5500. The chain also has daily military discounts. So, despite the danger, it could be worth it. Circle K, a free Polar Pop with the Veterans Day deal on the convenience store chain's mobile app and military ID. Cracker Barrel, free side of double chocolate fudge Coca-Cola cake. Dunkin' Donuts, free donut of choice while supplies last. Friendly's, free meal from a special menu at participating locations. Hurricane Grill and Wings, free entree and non-alcoholic drink from special menu. Little Caesars, free hot and ready lunch combo from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Longhorn Steakhouse, free appetizer or dessert. Plus, guests dining with veterans will receive 10% off their meals. Olive Garden, free meal from a select menu. Outback Steakhouse, free bloomin' onion and non-alcoholic beverage. Perkins, free Magnificent 7 meal. Panera Bread, free breakfast sandwiches until 10 a.m. Saturday at participating locations. After 10 a.m., military members get a coupon for a free pastry to use on a future visit. Recovery Sports Grill, a free meal. Red Lobster, free appetizer or dessert. Red Robin, free Red's Tavern double burger with bottomless fries. Ruby Tuesdays, free appetizer up to $10. Sonny's Barbecue. Offers vary by location. At some locations, veterans eat for half off, and other locations will offer a free big deal combo. Starbucks, free tall coffee for any veteran, active duty military, and military spouse Saturday. TGI Fridays, free lunch menu item up to $12 from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Saturday, plus get a coupon for $5 off the next meal. Thirsty Turtle Sea Grill, 10% discount for veterans and active military Saturday at the Point St. Lucie and Juno Beach locations. Wawa, free coffee any size all day Saturday for veterans, active military, and family members. Free Meal Monday. Golden Corral offers a free dinner buffet with a beverage from 5 to 9 p.m. November the 13th for the chain's annual Military Appreciation Night. Learn more at goldencorral.com/military. Other Veterans Day freebies. Car wash. Get a free car wash at participating locations nationwide. Find a list of locations at www.graceforvets.org/veterans. Great Clips. Veterans and active duty get a free haircut on Veterans Day or pick up a free haircut card to use through December the 31st. Also, non-veterans who get a haircut Saturday get a free haircut card to give to a veteran. Haircuttery. For every haircut purchased by customers Saturday, a free haircut certificate will be donated back to a veteran in the same community. To distribute the free haircut certificates, Haircuttery is working with veterans organizations. Sports Clips. Through its Help a Hero campaign, participating stores offer haircuts to service members and veterans with valid military identification. Stores also are collecting money for scholarships. Store military discounts. Many stores offer military discounts year-round, but a handful are only on Veterans Day. AC Moore. 15% off your total regular and side price purchases with valid ID every day. Bed Bath & Beyond. 25% off regular purchase November the 9th through the 12th. In-store only. And for God's sake, people, stay away from that Beyond section. Dollar General. 11% discount in-store and online with promo code VET17 Saturday. Home Depot. 10% discount. Joann Fabric. 10% discount for military service members and their families year-round. Lowe's. 10% discount. Michael's. 15% discount for military families every day. Old Time Pottery. 10% military discount every day to active, retired, military, and their immediate families. Publix. 10% discount for veterans, military personnel, and family members Saturday. Rock Room Shoes. 10% military discount on Veterans Day, as well as every Tuesday. Target. Through Saturday, 10% discount on in-store and online purchases for veterans, active military spouses, and dependent children. To get this discount, register at www.target.com and stay out of the bathrooms. Toys R Us. 15% off in-store purchases through Saturday. Walgreens. 20% of eligible regular price items Saturday for all veterans, military, and their families with Balance Rewards card and proof of military service. As you can see, American business is stepping up to meet the needs and honor the service of our veteran and active duty military. More, of course, has to be done, but this is a nice start. Check for discounts in your local area, and if you see a veteran, find a way to tell them thank you for all they went through for you and for the rest of the United States of America. And that's it for this time. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening, and may your God go with you. Goodbye. The Unpleasant Blind Guy is copyright 2017. Anno Domini.